pact once broken, forged anew.
Did you want waffles?
Good morning, everybody. Junie just said, hold on. It was like trying to get something ready as
Hold
I
on,
went live. It was
adding
too late.
tasty-
It couldn't
I'm
be
adding-
stopped.
I'm adding tasty bitches to the outline real quick. Give me 1 second. That's what we call ideas, y'all.
Oh man. Welcome to Warlocks and Waffles, y'all. It is good to be here.
There's an energy today.
There's a weird energy this morning. Junie and I were riffing. I think that's the only way I can describe it. It was just nonsense. But I mean, what else would you expect? Junie, how was your week?
It was definitely a week. I thought yesterday was Wednesday. Survivor happened, and then that was the only thing. Then everything was a blur. Can I ask you a question? Do you ever watch Survivor? You ever watch
Yes.
Survivor?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've never watched a season of Survivor while it was like the current season of Survivor.
Okay.
But I have watched seasons of Survivor.
My wife recently went back not too long ago, and season 1,
Mhm.
apparently they gave them cans of food and a lot more supplies, and also Jeff was like edgy, dark dungeon master with a hood type of guy. He was just like, "You have been voted off. Goodbye." Just very
Really?
deadpan. Oh yeah. If you compare him to now, he some people were like, he's too nice or something. He's too nice, they're saying. And it's because I come out with the ratio of the game got easier.
Mhm.
It used to be over 30 something days, now it's 28.
Okay.
And before they gave him cans of food and stuff like that, I think he proportionally, as he made the game suck less or more in a certain way,
Uh-huh.
he is you're already being punished by having to eat bugs and be in shelters
Sure.
that you grow
So
to
as as it's directly proportional to how
yeah,
difficult the game is.
he was almost trying to be a character almost
Uh-huh.
apparently in the beginning, and then he just became I'm just here, and you're all here, and I'm gonna watch you jump through these hoops. Instead, before it was just all right, this is the island, this is the spirit, and he was very more like that. It's gotten more.
Alternatively,
Yeah.
he just really doesn't like watching people suffer. And so in the early seasons, he was just miserable, but he's gotten less miserable as people have been
Oh
less
yeah,
suffering.
he's gotten more immune to their stuff. It's pretty funny. But what about you, Hunter? How was your week?
It was a busy week. We had a lot going on that I was taking care of, but it was a good week. I got to play I had a game on Saturday, which is fun. It's one of my monthly groups. They're going into the seat of evil, essentially. So they're getting real close to the like big bad of their game. Played with my group on Tuesday, which was fun. We made it into the swamps, which we had talked about on the stream recently, about the swamps where there's like the elemental bleed over and stuff like that. So we made it there, which was a lot of fun. I also had a conversation with Elliot, who's in that game, um, about the swamps and kind of like what he was envisioning. And he decided that he wanted more like monstrous races to have a presence there. So
Mm-hmm.
I got to kind of like dial that up of like there's like trolls and ogres and bugbears and lizard folk and genasi and like all of this different stuff. I introduced them to an NPC who is an ogre named Truffle,
Okay.
who acted as a guide for them and led them through the swamps. And then I had a game on Wednesday, and we spent the majority of that session debating who was getting which items from the magic items they were given as a reward for
Mm.
completing a quest. But they did end up figuring it out, and they left, and they are on their journey. So very, very exciting.
You reminded me. I had a session on Wednesday.
Hmm.
No, I had a session on Tuesday. And I had the reaction. I know I've had this reaction before, but like, it's 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 been so long since I've done it. My games are a little way more infrequent.
Hmm.
Um, and it was I I had a library group, and I always kind of have like what I'd like to do, or and then backup plans because sometimes it could be like 6 kids, 5 kids, and then one
Sure.
time, like last month, it was like 13. So, for the 13 group, I just had knew it was gonna be a big group, so I had like a ton of riddles, um, and puzzles, and then I had them all solving things simultaneously.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
yeah, so and then as they solve things, I had a bunch of dice and we'd throw it into a pool and they had to fill up the thing to like solve it. If they had and I said the guy thought he was smart, but he could be reasoned with if you want to try to challenge his riddle. I had a dice tower, they would go up and roll in the dice tower, and if they beat like the DC, they convinced him that their answer is better.
Nice.
So if they couldn't get it, then they could just do this.
Yeah.
So it was like and then if they didn't wanna do that, they had a fighting component where I said zombies were attacking them and they can roll. But I did something yesterday and I did something Tuesday where I was just like, I liked this idea this one time. I don't know if I told you about the time I took them to San Francisco General.
Mm-mm.
Um, it was, uh, Mert always sends them on like these like sometimes training excursions,
Hmm.
and it was like they need to learn how to like, adapt and be like not like themselves, like, adapt to like, what if they didn't have access to their stuff,
Sure.
and they had them all blink, and they were like in a sterile room with harsh fluorescent lights, and I just tried very hard to describe like a hospital room, and then you see a window with this cityscape in the distance, and I just described a very generic like San Francisco, and then on the wall you see something that says San Francisco General, and then a kobold nurse comes in, it's just like, doctor, the patient needs you right away, and they're all like, what? And they were all just
Like
very
a
handsome.
like a doctor procedural.
Oh yeah, it was
That's
like Grey's
awesome.
Anatomy.
That's great.
And I was like, you're all in different bodies. You don't know exactly what you can do, but tell me what you like and you can figure out. And I had spells and
Hmm.
items in my hand. And as they attempted things, I'd be like, you find you have this in your pocket. Or like, yeah, you have this spell. And they would kind of just keep going. But because it was like a training exercise, I said that like if they looked hard into like the middle distance,
Hmm.
they would see that the world kind of stops at a point
Hmm.
and there's a little expanse of nothingness, and they would see rows of seating and this elvish man with big curly hair, and he was the director,
Hmm.
and he was shouting notes at them occasionally. And if they did well or bad, that he would react accordingly. And I had a bag of stuff, and I took like I think I took out like a confetti popper at one point and put it ominously, and then I kept saying and I had a tennis racket, and I kept ominously taking a tennis racket out and not saying anything. I would say something for everything else except for the tennis racket, and there would be one kid to go, "What is he doing with that tennis racket?" And I'd be like, "You don't know." And then I would never talk about it, but then I'd put it away and I'd take it out again, and they would go, "What the heck?" But it was a nonsense
Just
episode. Like it
sowing
was,
absolute chaos.
yeah. They opened the curtain and it was like a dragon with a mimic on it still. And he's like, "Doctor, what can you do to get it off?" And it was like monsters and all stuff, and they just had to like Grey's Anatomy solve it, right?
I love that
This
so much.
this time they went back and they didn't know what was going on because 4 of them had done it before, 2 of them had not. So they didn't know what was going on. They're like, "What?" And I was like, "You're in the body of this." And they're like, "Huh?" And they're going through, and one guy was like, "Are we?" And then I described the room, and I was like, and then on the wall you see San Francisco General. And 4 that knew was like, "Oh no, not this again." The nurse comes in, it's like, "Dr. Yang, like they just need you right now." And it was, and then they turned the thing, and I was like, and then you see a wizard, purple hat, long white beard, and then I pull out my Muppet puppet thing, and
Mhm.
I put it. I was like, "You see this?" And he turns his head and he goes, "Doctor, is as bad as it looks." And they had to cure the wizard of being a puppet. They had to cure the wizard
I
of being
love
a
that
puppet.
so much.
Uh,
Oh,
and like I said, that 2 of them were newer, not just to like the group, but like to D&D.
sure.
So they were like, "What is happening?" And
Yeah.
I said, "Do I have my familiars?" And I was like, "No, you don't. But you pull out like a black box." I just grabbed a phone, and they just had them and their familiars as a wallpaper. And they were like, "Can I use this thing somehow?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they Google things. But it was playing fast and loose, but getting everybody involved in the story
Yeah.
in creative ways and stuff like that.
I love that.
Hunter told me we're getting childish today. Hunter, what we are a TTRPG morning show, I believe.
That is what it says on
What
the business cards.
what is what you got? Fucking
No,
you got? Oh wait.
but
Oh,
we
okay,
should.
good. I was about, yeah, in the budget. Uh oh, we're talking accessories. Okay, I have these gloves, right? Uh oh no, that thing. Okay,
He's
Hunter, what is that? What is that box?
here. This is the box from Little Game Masters, which is the Kickstarter that I got to be a guest author for, and write
You
a
were a
adventure.
goal.
I was
People
a
had to
stretch
fight for
goal.
you.
Let me get this box open.
I haven't used the food things like I said we were gonna do, so I was gonna be brought out of context if I was like a delicious stretch goal.
I mean, oh no,
We
my
were coming up with a
my
completely different
my
energy.
my thing broke.
Dang.
It's from the Dollar Tree. Rip it open. There we go.
Use that skull there to gnaw it open. So, for the audio listener, he is opening a box. He broke something. He opened the box. He's trying to figure out what to do with the box. He threw it. His wife was standing there. She has been knocked with a box.
No, stop.
I
The
know. That's what she
lies.
said.
The lies.
That's what she said.
Slander.
She's like, you delicious bitch. What are you doing?
What a morning. This is it's getting worse.
He's still trying to use it. He's like, "Hey, I paid $1 for this. I only got 45 cents worth." He's still going for it.
I realized a moment after it happened that this is a bad idea because it's just a razor blade attached to a broken piece of plastic now. I started pulling it towards me, and the thing cut, and it came back, and I was like, "This is
I've done that so many
bad
times.
idea."
I cut things towards myself and then realized like, "Oh man, you're going to stab yourself one day." And I never stop. Okay. Now mine's in the mail, I believe. But
Yes.
I don't have mine.
Okay. Ta-da!
So that looks nice.
Ooh.
For those that don't know, Little Game Masters
Yeah, give the pitch.
by Randall Randall Hampton. I keep forgetting. I keep thinking I'm messing up his last name. Um, but it is. I don't want to say because it's not like watered down. It's its own system. It's
Yeah.
not like it's not like, oh, he watered down D&D, but it is a digestible TTRPG for he actually gave the age range, which was really good. But it's for kids, and
Mhm.
I would say as soon as I saw it, I immediately thought that this was going to be a good like segue TTRPG for people that don't want too many mechanics
Yeah.
and things like
Yeah.
that. Um, but it is a TTRPG for younger players,
Mhm.
and gives them the tools to run their games too, because it's like Little Game Masters is like a kid could pick this up
Yeah.
and run with it.
Ta-da. Book. There's the book. It's got that new book smell. This is the book
Chemicals.
I'm excited about, though.
Which one is this? Is this the?
This is the Frozen
I
Tower.
believe I downloaded. I hope I
Uh,
downloaded it because the link expired for me, and I'm like, if I don't have it, I'm gonna be sad.
but this is the excuse me. This is the one that all of the stretch goal authors contributed to. So let's see here. Chapter 3, The Bravest Knight. That's me.
What's it called again?
Hmm?
What'd you say is the what? The name, the
The
title?
book, The Frozen
No,
Tower.
no, the title of the yours,
The Bravest Knight.
Bravest Knight. There we go. But yeah. So we've had Randall on, and
Mhm.
and I've saw him at cons and stuff like that. And when I saw the samples of everything, I was like,
Mhm.
oh, this is gonna be so legit. So I'm very excited, and I keep looking out my window, like, is it here yet? Hold on, and I'm just gonna feel like I'm gonna knock down my green screen and run out the door to get mine. Um, for those that can't see, it is just a fantastically chunky like cat, and
Look at the mouse.
the best
Look at the
mouse knight
mouse.
you'll ever see.
He's got a little thimble helmet and a button shield and a little needle sword.
Uh,
Maximus.
but let
I love
me.
this.
There was I liked. All right, so yeah, straight from the Kickstarter page, Little Game Masters has been built. That's it's easy to teach, easy to learn, fun to play. It's going to be familiar for everybody that's played, TTRPGs. But first and foremost, imagination is everything. It was their goal for young players to try anything and to not be afraid of failure. And that's something I know I emphasize a lot, but it's not something that I feel is emphasized on its own naturally in in other things where I tell people, like, just because you roll low or didn't go as you wanted, that means it's
Mhm.
a failure automatically.
Mhm.
Um, during my last game, somebody was like, I improv just something dumb because I wanted to just get more chaotic as the scene built. And
Mhm.
then I was like, and then a manatee floats out and says, "Who's gonna deliver my wife's baby?" And
Check
I just
this
said that
out.
as that is nuts. That's a full
That's freaking
I,
sick.
that's a legit
That's
DM screen.
the GM screen. Um Goes over the stats, which, by the way, the stats in this system are muscle, wits, and pizzazz, which
I was
I
about to say, yeah.
love.
Hmm.
So good. Uh it's got a random encounter table. Uh so good. I love the naming of stuff in this. It's so fun. Um a swarm of bumblebees. A druid and their pet hippopotamus. That's great. I love that.
Uh, I know. Oh, let me see. Is it
Ooh,
here? I know. I
this
know you're
is
gonna
this
when
is
you open
cool.
it, we'll see the classes. But
Look at that.
ooh, what's this? Oh, what? Wait, what is this?
This is a
Oh,
little
like the
like
sleeve for the.
folio thing and has all of the
Oh, I like
character
that.
sheets and stuff. Um,
And it comes with these dry erase character sheets, right?
yeah, so we've got, let's see here. So
Oh, the
many
front and
characters.
back. Yeah.
Okay. So we've got Jonas Meadowfoot. Looks like a tinkerer. Very cool.
Is it same front and back?
Yeah, it's the same character front and back. But the one side has like uh character
The
art and
things you can
health
do.
and the stats and stuff, and then like a list of like all the actions. The other side, if you're playing with like even like younger players, instead of having a like a description of the different attacks, it just has pictures of the different things, which is
Love it.
very cool. Sela Starborn is a spell sword. Annalie Wispwind is a sorcerer. Seravis of the Wilds is a druid. Rufius Stormbringer is a wizard. Balin the Valiant is a knight. Ronan Longfellow is a bard. Elandra Starfield is a cleric. Era Woodstride is a beastmaster. Hercules Stonesplitter is a brawler. Torben Shadowstride is a rascal. Uh, and Karen Gross Smite-Wrath is a berserker. That's awesome.
Okay.
So it looks like we have like one of each of the like main classes.
Main archetypes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that it comes in that little folio thing
Yeah.
because you could also probably just like you have anybody that's taking notes.
hmm
uh, but like the hit points, it was like it's just like Zelda like for four hearts.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Mhm.
a heart system. So each character has little hearts that shows how much health they have, and these are all like I think dry erase or wet erase. So you
I think
can
the dry erase, yeah.
set them up and mark on them, which is great. Love that. But I have a family reunion later this year, and I have like little cousins, so I
Mhm.
might have to bring this with me and see if I can, because they're my cousin's kids.
Mhm.
But bring it with me and see if I can convince my cousin to to let me run a game for their kids.
I do. I told when we had Randall, I told him I do a lot of the general like oh we're gonna roll d20 and just add like four, add three, um, and just do generalities. And
hmm
I know that I would have appreciated just like instead of having this all done for me, you know what I
hmm
mean? Like instead of me having to like do the mental gymnastics to figure a lot of this stuff out and just try to boil it down, synthesize it. I was like, "Oh man, this is something I know I would have been like all about and I would have gotten and used in the type of games I do." And
hmm
I know that there are people that want that accessibility. Like it's that somebody slapping that little character the card in front of me is what I wished somebody would have done to
hmm
introduce me into TTRPGs. My friends 8
This
big core books in front of me, and I was like, "Nope."
this is the main book. Goes through like
Mhm.
all the classes and stuff. I love the artwork.
Oh, yeah.
It's so fun.
Oh,
So many things.
my kid is knocking at the door. 1 second.
Oh man, this is freaking cool.
My wife is here, though, so I know that she's okay, but I hear her like, "Dad, dad." I hear him, but I can't open door.
We've got all of
She's like,
the
"Open the door."
All the character sheets are in the book as well, so you have easy
So,
reference for them.
is there a character creation, or is it more of just like I know that they have the
It
cards there,
it looks
but
like
do they
it's
have like a?
pre-made character cards, but then like theoretically, like there's
I didn't know if
all
there was like a
there's
character
the
creation
section
section.
that goes over like all of the different like the different classes. So it goes over all the different classes, and then it does have advanced rules creating your own hero.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
comes
Mhm.
with 12 pre-made characters with specific classes. These archetypes are common in many TPG-RPGs. Um, but it goes over like how to make your own character. What's your character's name? What's
So
their class? What are their
order
attribute
order of
scores?
operations, order of operations. In that box, it was the character cards, the rule book, the adventure book, and the DM screen. Right, those were all the things in the thing.
Yes.
Okay, so I am a sucker for packaging.
Yes.
Um, that thing looked very solid from you just holding it,
Mm-hmm.
and that little character sheet holder, the character card holder,
Mm-hmm.
is so much nicer than what I know I would have seen elsewhere. Either if you're lucky, you get like a folder
Mm-hmm.
to put everything in. Otherwise, you would have gotten just like a tray, like something that would have just sat
Yeah.
on top.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
So I almost want to just message him like, "Yo, that little thing to hold the character sheets is like that was." I know that was like
Top notch.
a very like specific choice because that thing looked like it had designs. Was it made out of like hard cardboard, flimsier cardboard? Like
No,
that doesn't matter as
it's
much, but
solid.
because I know that that's expensive. Like I know that like can be expensive if you don't shop around. So it's like depending on how you go about it, like
uh, I
from a
found I
production
found
standpoint.
I found the bestiary section that has like all of
Hmm.
the like monster
Hmm.
stat blocks.
Stat
Um,
clouts.
stat clout. This is there's a skunk stat block. And has an action called Stank Nasty.
I was gonna say stank. I was literally just gonna say stank. Oh my god.
Stink
Did you
Nasty.
already tag Randall? Did you like tweet out and say like
Yeah,
tag Randall that
yeah,
we're
yeah.
opening his thing? Okay.
Yeah. He messaged me yesterday and he was like, hey, all of the things have been sent. You should like it should have arrived. And I was like, I got it. I'm opening it on stream tomorrow. And then he messaged me this morning. He was like, what time are you gonna be on? Um yeah, I'm very excited. This
So
is freaking great.
just because I want to order of operations this,
Mhm.
uh how would you how would you describe like the like because I watched too much unboxing videos, bro. There's a vibe, there's a feel. How do you feel about you unwrapping that right now?
It's really nice. Like the texture of the book is really nice. Like if you
Mm,
ever uh how to describe it? Like you know that like almost silky feel to a book?
mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
that's the way I would describe this one. And I like the fact that instead of it being like most books for games are like that, I like it like this.
Mm-hmm.
I like the landscape, like it
It
just
feels
gives
it.
more like space
I
without it feeling
I
crowded.
I think that that is valid. And it's funny because I was like, yeah, it's more children's booky.
Mhm.
But it
It is,
also
yeah, yeah.
the way you described that, I was like, oh, it serves a function too. You know what I mean? It gives you
Mhm.
more of like space to lay out. Because a block of text, vertical is gonna be, I don't know. I think giving it that landscape thing
The
does give you that more
the
satisfying
first
play
the
around.
first monster in the monster section is biggest spider ever. I love
So
that.
real quick,
It's a
go to the table of contents. I'm just curious at
gobby magic
how
pants,
the
gobby in a tin can, a ne'er do well.
I just wanted to see the flow of how he organized the thing.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I also like the foreword says, "Beware, this book contains instructions for playful fun. Use at your own risk of laughter and joy." Um, okay, so table of contents. Introduction, equipment needed to play, important roles, using the card, attributes, adventuring. Then it goes into chapter 2, characters, goes through all the classes, advanced rules, creating your own hero, Chapter 3, Worlds and Stories, outlines the world that he's created, outlines like how to create your own world. A sample adventure, goes through a glossary, and then an appendix that has the character cards, the combat actions, muscle actions, wits actions, pizzazz actions, special ability actions, the bestiary, and magic items.
Ooh, okay. Okay. Feels like a natural progression.
Mm-hmm.
Um, how do you feel about that?
So many.
Dude, I know that what is it? I think there was I think that's the way that they're changing it to. I know Wizards was doing something where they're like trying to change the way people like I don't know if they're putting character creation first or something like that. They're
Mm-hmm.
trying to like change the order of operations. And I know me and maybe you like are you like um uh pick and choose like what you kind of digest or are you a table of contents like I'm gonna go through like progression, you know what I mean? Like do you go like in
Oh.
order or do you go like I want to learn this and I want to learn this?
Mm-hmm.
Like do you think that can you see somebody like flipping flopping or like that's
Mm-hmm.
the order they would go? I'm just
I
I know that this is like
I
a different answer for everybody, so that's why I'm just curious.
I'm definitely a like use a book as I need the contents of it
Hmm.
sort of person. So like I open something up if it's a new thing, I open it up to whatever section I like need at that
Gravitate
moment,
towards, yeah. Hmm.
and read through like the stuff that is relevant in that moment. I very rarely sit down and read like cover to cover a full book. Like I know somebody who said that they when they were trying to learn how to like GM, they sat down and read every like every book for 5th edition.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, how? Like
Yeah.
I don't understand it. Like more power to them, but yeah, I was shocked. There's so many there's so many books and then there's so much content in each of them, that's like if you're putting that much energy into them, then uh there's not a lot of like additional uh I lost my train of thought. My bad.
It's okay. It was a spicy tangent.
If you're going through and like reading every single book, there's a lot of content in there that you will probably never need. And so my brain goes, okay, well, I don't need to like sit down and read every single book, because if I read like every single book, there's a lot of stuff that I'm going to read about that I may never need. As long as I'm familiar with like, oh, I know that this content exists. I don't need to memorize all of it. Something like this where it's like a much smaller amount of information, and like especially since it's a system that is different than my like regular system that I run, I would probably just start at the beginning and read through. But there's probably stuff that I could like skim through. There's probably stuff that I would be like, oh, okay, cool, I can skip past this.
Like
It
how
really
many pages
depends.
was it? Like it's like it does not
um
look it doesn't look huge. So like before you get to the bestiary and the magic items, like how much is that to like, digest? Like I think it's
um
it's not as intimidating, especially since it like is a little bit children's booky. It's gonna
yeah,
be
no,
less intimidating. It's not like
the appendix starts on page 31.
yeah. So
So
it's
like
like this isn't like
30 pages of like content, and it's like beautiful art on every page. So like
mhm. And from what I saw,
each one is
it's
going to
laid out
have,
well and not like
yeah,
blocks, like just like
it's
this is just 2
very
pages of just
very
text.
digestible. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where it's like um there are adventure books and stuff where I read through them and I go, this is too much information. Or
Mhm.
I've had books where I'm like, this is nothing. This is like not enough
Yep.
information. Like why did I need this book? This one I feel like has a good balance of like there's not an insane amount of information in it. But all the information that is there is very, very useful. And it seems very focused on you like embracing the imagination side of the game
Mhm.
and sort of like collaborating to work together and make this story
It
and this adventure.
it
Instead
also
of being a like you must follow this path.
mhm. It also does something where I don't know if it's intentional or not, but I
Hmm.
feel like it's gonna be a byproduct of it. I think that one of the most, I don't wanna say dangerous, like, the best tool I have in my game master toolbook is describing things in a way where, I always say, like, "Hey, you're doing a lot of mental processing when you're running a game."
Hmm.
You are thinking about what you had planned, maybe what's happening, like what they're going to do, responses, blah, 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 blah. So, and then you want to describe things in a certain way where it's like, that's another thing where you have to like process what this, everybody try to aim for what it looks like, sounds like, smells like, try to go
Hmm.
like you can taste the fear, something like that,
Hmm.
but describing things in a way where it puts the mental processing on everybody else.
Hmm.
So something like the biggest spider you have ever seen.
Hmm.
And it's just kind of like you can keep going with how many feet it is, how it's whatever. But if you just go, this is the scariest goblin you
Yeah.
have ever seen. It just makes you taste fear.
Hmm.
It's gonna let them fill in those gaps. And I think that the way he's described some of the monsters,
Yeah.
they can use them and then describe them differently. It doesn't
Yeah.
pigeonhole them into like it needs to look like this, but also they can describe other things in those ways, and it'll kind of teach them that little bit of like narrative, like give them all that ammo where they can just go like, oh, let me just put in the adjectives I want
Hmm.
at an early age.
Yeah.
And real quick, I know you got to think bookmark, but like looking at the book.
Hmm.
When I worked in a library, if I held a certain book in front of certain kids,
Hmm.
they would look it over and immediately, like, if they held it, they would immediately flip to how many pages it was or
Hmm.
just eyeball and go, "That," and their eyes would glaze over.
Hmm.
That's not a book where it looks so daunting, where it's like,
Right.
"Ooh, I wanna play." And then, like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that book is," like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I just wanna play. Like, it's a book that
It's
you can
not
pick up
much
and
bigger
yeah.
than like a book that a kid would pull off of their shelf for like a bedtime story or something like that.
Correct.
Yeah. Which I feel like is intentional. It's a
Yes. No,
very
it all
like
feels
a
very
very
yeah.
well put together piece. Um so in the Frozen Tower, which is the book that all of the like guest authors contributed towards.
You were in
Uh
that one, right?
yes. There is an enemy. Let's see if I can get this in here. Those little snowmen.
Little
Uh
jerk snowmen? Like, they look like little meanies.
they're called snow pips. They throw snowballs. They also have an ability called Aw. The snow
Okay, hold on,
pips
what?
emit an aura, making a target think it is the cutest thing ever. The
So, does it say
target the
sizes or
target
anything or
cannot
no?
attack the snow pip for 2 rounds. It doesn't say a size on here, from what I'm looking at. But
Then and then this is
it says
this is one
miniature, set upon by a group of 3 miniature snow pips and 1 monstrous ice golem. Um,
okay, alright then, because I was about to say, I was like, "Uh-oh, Randall, you done
was
did a
there
goof," because,
I think there
I
was
know
a
that, like
size categories in this one.
because I know that, like, oh, Pip, I'm assuming that it's something small.
Mhm.
Imagine like a not a chihuahua, but, like a tiny thing, right?
Right.
Um, but if just somebody sees a snow pip, but then the illustration of a snowman,
Mhm.
there's gonna be 2 people that are gonna run this 2 different ways of like, oh,
Mhm.
little tiny things, and then 3 like that movie Jack Frost, the horror movie, like full size snowmen, and then they're like full size, and there's just like go get them, and then they're like. And they do like a little kawaii, like hee 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 hee. It's like, oh, those are very adorable. It's like those are bigger than me. Tangent. Have you ever made a snowman?
I have, yeah.
Like three tier full.
Yeah.
I went to make a snowman the last time it snowed here with my daughter. It'd be hard.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was. It took me a long time.
You need a lot of snow to make it work.
There was enough. But it was just me because the 2-year-old couldn't, she was coming up like, hey, throwing snow on it. I'm like, yeah, but hold on, don't hit it too hard. Hey, we're talking about snow pips. Hey, Randall in the chat.
Hey, Randall, welcome
we're
to the
talking
stream,
about
bud.
your stuff and saying positive things about it. I cursed
We
way
up
too
in
much
here.
in the front end of the show for this subject matter, but we're talking snow pips and how somebody's
snow pips
not going to
cracked me
read
up.
and
the aw ability. I was like, I thought that was very, very funny. Okay, I found character and creature size. When an encounter or combat situation occurs, size and placement of creatures can be important. There are 4 basic size categories for characters and creatures in Little Game Master: small, medium, large, and massive. The size of a character will determine how much space they take up on a battle map. Small and medium creatures only take up 1 space, while large creatures take up 4, and massive creatures take up 9. 9 squares. Yikes. Okay, cool. So then I would
Randall
assume it's a
Randall dropped that the creature sizes are set. They may have been omitted from the stat blocks. But once again, I think this is one of those things where, like I said, more than one person can run this in a different way, and we would see regular size snowmen doing the adorable kawaii move, and I'm here for it. I'm not saying that this is like a bad thing.
I love the concept of like somebody looking at this and being like, oh, that's a snowman, like it's like the size of a person, and it's just like it uses its awe ability as just like a full size snowman going like, oh woo.
Ooh, it's like the one from Frozen. Just like,
don't you think I'm adorable?
Randall says monster book coming soon.
Heck yeah.
Get at us. We will contribute an entire category.
Oh, dude, I'm on board.
Like we will be up in there.
Junie, I mean, if you think about it, like Frosty the Snowman though is like a big like adult human sized snowman that is adorable. Like he comes to life and he's like, happy birthday, like that is he's a cute little thing.
Also, like he hypnotizes children with like Pied Pipering them through the town.
Lures children into the North Pole.
Yeah, kind of frightening. That's right. Yeah.
Gets brought to life and immediately is like, I'm gonna die. Come to terms with that, children.
Real quick, I don't know if
hey, thanks for the sub, Randall. Appreciate you.
Thanks for sub. I don't know if it says it in that, because once again, this is for children, so it might not need this level of detail. I don't know if the snow pips have weaknesses. I was gonna say that if you make an eldritch horror being like Frosty the Snowman, you give him a weakness, so his hat is his weakness. You take that hat off, you can at least take him down. So I don't know if the snow pips have similar weaknesses. It's just like you got to go for the coal eyes,
fire, right?
You would think.
I would.
But what if you don't have fire? What if you just got a stick? But then they're so adorable.
Dude,
yeah.
It's wild to me having like written the description of the written the description of this room for the tower, and then seeing the like depiction of it is very, very cool for me. There is a in my like write up, I described like this very intense stained glass window with like lots of color and sends light cascading across the room, and like, oop, there we go. Like that's
cool.
That's so pretty. Like it's got so much like detail to it, and perfectly encapsulates why I originally
sure.
thought about it.
I'm sure Randall can
Um,
probably send you just that image, and you can make that your phone background.
mm, um, there are it's so cool. Like there's this one image here of Maximus who like for anybody who doesn't know, Maximus is a reference to a Humblewood stream that Junie and Sweet Rosie B and I all played in. And my character in that game was a Gerbine, which are like little mouse folk. And his name was Maximus. He was a this like mouse folk rogue, swashbuckler. He was a hero. He was very excited to interact with all of the adventuring stuff. So when I started writing this, it was kind of I had started writing this while we were playing that Humblewood game, and I knew I wanted to do something with like some small creatures and stuff like that. And so I made Maximus as this like little mouse that was wanting to be a brave knight, and kind of going through the process of learning how to, which was a fun experience for me.
I
Kind of
almost wore
rewriting
my rooster shirt.
rewriting a
Yeah,
character as uh like
an alternate
it's
reality version.
yeah, it's like a different multiverse. It, yeah, I'm it's cool to see. I'm
I
very
almost
excited.
wore my rooster shirt. Hunter made me a shirt with a rooster, with a reference from the same game,
I'm
and
not
I
trying to
played a
muscle in on
rooster.
your ex. I'm just trying to do crimes.
Yeah,
Uh,
but like I was a rooster paladin, who was his brother.
hmm
So I would have worn the shirt of my sibling. That would
hmm
have been funny.
The what I really liked about writing this section here was that so the party shrinks down in this adventure. So
Spoiler
they
alert.
it's like the first thing that happens. They shrink down, and so they are like the size of Maximus, who's just a regular mouse. But what that allowed me to do was make a like the cat in this room is the main threat, and I was able to go, okay, well, because the like everybody is small by comparison, the cat is like massive and strong, so the cat has 6 hearts, and a muscle score of +5. So they are like very intense as a comparable foe. But like it is a cat. um
And I think you did this without you had not seen The Secrets of Nim, right?
no, I had.
Oh, you had? Okay.
Yeah, I'm familiar with Secrets of Nim.
Oh, because this
Um
is like your dragon is completely like distinct. It's not like, oh, you used
it
but like, there
yeah.
was a
So
cat named
I
Dragon.
I had
But
seen
I
I've
like yours.
absolutely seen Secrets of Nim. And I had like finished all of my stuff and like had written all of my stuff out, and then was talking to somebody about it, and they were like, "Oh, like in Secrets of Nim." And I'm like, "Yeah, in the
It
sense
was
that they're
me. It
like
was me. I
they're
think I think
yeah,
I
I think it
said
was
something
you."
about,
I
yeah.
was like, "You're like, oh, like Secrets of Nim." And I'm like, "Yeah, in the sense that it's like a mouse going on an adventure." And you were like, "No, in the sense that like a cat named Dragon is the threat." And I was like,
Yeah.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, this
But
one's big and has an eye,
they
but
are
yours
very
is
different.
like yours is
Dragon and
like
Secrets of Nim is a very intimidating cat.
yeah.
Dragon in this game is a lovable chonk. Like you really have the option of, are you going to fight the dragon, or are you going to befriend the dragon? And like both of them are like choices
Mhm.
you can make, but they are very different.
Yeah,
And
when I see your dragon,
he
I feel like
defaults
there's
to
options.
yeah, he defaults to a like a sleepy cat. Like, he is asleep
Yeah.
on the desk in a sunbeam. That's where he wants to be. If
It
you
was
attack him, he'll fight back. But like, I believe I actually wrote in here something about like he will not attack unless provoked. Like, he does
yeah.
not care enough to do so.
That's a
The reason
win.
Maximus is able
Yeah.
to live in the room with with Dragon is the Dragon is too lazy to go try and catch him.
That's a win on you and on Randall, because it's one of those things where, you know, you need you can describe something a certain way, but I could see that if somebody would describe it just like as a big old cat,
Mm-hmm.
somebody would think like Rats of Nim or just like a big scary cat, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then for him to take your description, and then when I look at that, I go, there's options, because
Mm-hmm.
he could be lazy. He could be like, oh no, he's gonna all be hungry. So and then GM discretion again, like Randall said earlier, for like we were talking about like the snow pips or the
Yeah.
snowman thing. It's one of those things where you could
Like,
take it a lot of different
look at
ways.
him.
Yeah.
Look at him and tell me that he's a monster. He's just
That or he might
a
demand
lovable
tribute. You know
chump.
what I mean? It depends
He
on
is a
that
dragon.
interpretation,
I
but it's
also
not like
let's try and
I
get it
see one thing. So
leveled
yeah,
up
no, I
here.
love
Like,
that.
I also love, if you can see it, he's got like one little tusky tooth sticking out, which I think is
I had not
very
seen that. That's
very
fun.
very cute.
But that means he could be old. Like there's just so much that is like
Mm-hmm.
in that one image
Yeah.
that like it gives me options, and then a kid that isn't tainted by media and by like, you know, all the other adventures and stuff like that they've been on, or like they know this is how things could go. They can go in any direction.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a solid, such a solid victory on for both of you guys
um
on that one. And then
I
Maximus is just adorable.
I specifically I forgot that I had done this. I specifically wrote in because uh I wrote out the like the adventure, and in my original draft of the adventure I was like, um uh it could be um it could be that he is like attacked, or it could be that he's befriended. And so I was like, well, it could go either way. I'll write up a like either path. And then as I was writing it, I was like, I really don't want to write an adventure where the party kills a cat. Like, that seems bad. So I intentionally gave I gave Dragon an ability called Jump and Snarl. He leaps up to triple his movement for a total of 18 spaces, and then from there he snarls and hisses at up to 3 targets. Each target must make a pizzazz roll of over 15 or become scared.
Hmm.
And so he has a special thing where he will, if Dragon is attacked, he will fight ferociously until he has only 2 hearts left, at which point he will use Jump and Snarl to reach the top of the bookcase, out of range of the adventurers, removing himself from combat. The only way to lure him back down will be to offer him a treat or a successful pizzazz roll, at which point he will come back down to the desk, accept any treats, demand to be pet, and lay back down purring.
That's fantastic. That's good.
Also, just as a reference to us and our show, there are two little references in here. One of them is an NPC that I put into my section of the adventure, which is a let's see here. A magpie named Warlock, Warlock the Curious Collector. He named Warlock by the kitchen staff because he seems to appear out of nowhere like magic anytime they make a batch of crunchy munchy waffle bites. He has a magpie he's a magpie that has built its nest outside the stained glass window of the lab. Warlock collects pretty much anything he finds to bring back to his nest, and has been known to trade things from his collection to people who bring him new items to add. He is particularly fond of anything shiny, and his favorite snack is a crunchy munchy waffle bite. And then he has like stuff in his collection that the players can trade him for to be able to navigate the room more effectively and stuff like that.
That's fantastic.
I also, as each section of the tower has a has like stuff that you get as like a reward for completing it. One of the items that I put in is the Wackful iron. It's an old waffle iron that is was used in the making of countless crunchy munchy waffle bites, but has rusted shut, sealing its final delicious creation inside it. The Wackful iron can be used as a melee weapon, granting a +1 to combat actions that use the muscle attribute. And if you choose to, you can crack the iron open to retrieve the waffle from within. Eating the waffle will restore 2 hearts. Once cracked open, the Wackful iron will no longer be usable as a weapon.
That's what I was about to say. I was just like, is there like a final like a desperate action where you're just there like
Hmm.
and you smack it to the ground, but then you break it? Oh, okay. That's that's a logical progression right there. That's so good.
They
Randall says there's
also
another illustration of dragon. Someone
There
else,
is. So
yeah.
later in the adventure, let me verify this. So uh friend of the show, Devin, is from Start Playing and Total Party Chill, is also one of the guest authors in here, and they wrote the Magical Menagerie, which is a like petting zoo type area, with like a bunch of different creatures in it, and that one, oh no, not that one, I'm so sorry. That is like a petting zoo, but there's also the Dragon's Lair, where it is essentially where Dragon lives, and there's like a cat tree and
Okay.
stuff like that. But they because it is like one tower, they've just carried over
Okay.
the same cat to that room. So there are some absolutely amazing images of
Oh
Dragon
yeah, that's a winner.
in
That's a
there,
profile picture right there.
um
That's fantastic.
of just like
Oh man,
doing
yeah. If somebody
doing
flips through
doing
this
some
book
cat
beforehand,
stuff.
yeah, ain't no question
um
that that's like a befriendable character. Like
yes,
the other one, I was like, oh, I
100%.
might have to fight that. I might have to friend it. The other one's
Hmm.
just like, oh no, this is a buddy. This
Yeah,
is a buddy the whole time.
which
Can I?
it is a shame that uh the office that you meet like Maximus and Dragon in is so low in the like towards the ground
Mhm,
of the tower, because if it was higher up, you would go through like some of the other areas and maybe have already befriended him. But at the same time, it's one of those things where like, okay, but if you meet him in the room with Maximus first, then like you've already gone through that process by the time you meet
mhm,
him again later.
mhm,
So it's fun. I'm excited to see how people go
mhm.
through it and use the
And
stuff.
I remember that was a bit of a discussion, because uh, like where you kind of I don't know if you got an option of where you wanted to be on the tower. I know there was like a general vibe of like like hey, do you want to be higher or lower type of thing, like where
Mhm.
because earlier adventures, lower tower is going to generally be a little bit easier, and there's a difficulty. It's going to progress.
Mhm.
Um, because if you would put that a little higher, how would you like are would you have wanted to make the thing more challenging? Because I think that's the perfect, like, lower level, like,
I if it
introductory
I
thing.
think
So
if it was higher in the tower, I absolutely would have had to up the difficulty of it.
mhm,
But I think it works very very well as
yeah.
the low tower. Um,
Uh, can I tell you something? When he was talking
Absolutely.
about Wizard Tower and going up, my immediate, thing, because I was like, wizards are weird,
Mhm.
and I don't know if it's a wizard tower, like, the specifics of, like,
Mhm.
the lore of it, but I just imagine, like, there's gotta be, like, not just a nonsense floor, but,
Mhm.
like, a nonsense, like, mechanism, and immediately I was like, "A train." And you're probably going like, "What do you mean a train?" And I'm going just like to go from like floor, like, let's just say like 4 to 5, right?
Mhm.
It's like the stairwell
Mhm.
is a train that functions essentially like an escalator, right?
Mhm.
So imagine like, all right, it's like a 3 or whatever car train, and it goes slowly up in a spiral, So it's kind of like, all right, we got to get to the next floor. How do we get there? It's like you get on the train, and it's like in the grand scheme of things, there is just a void
Yeah.
in between floors, so there's no way to do it without the train. But it's like a train ride middle, and then magic spiral loops.
Hmm.
But I was automatically, it's like, what sort of nonsense, you shrink. You could do different weather. Like I know there's probably
Hmm.
different climates in that book, uh, but uh, but, like,
Uh,
I was just like, what sort of mechanisms, like, is there anything in your level, essentially, that you'd be like, "Oh, I would've, if you had the time, space, or capability, like, is there anything you would've wanted to add or that you'd be like, 'Oh, this is a fun idea?'" And
to my
to be
adventure specifically, or just like
because you're
a
the most
fun thing
familiar
to.
with that one.
Mhm.
You're most familiar with that one, but if you're just thinking of, like, a wizard tower for kids,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just now that I'm on
So
that topic in
in
my brain, I'm
my
like, "Ooh."
in my original drafting of the adventure, my original outline, I had put like a couple of more NPCs and like some additional threats in there and stuff like that. Like the I'd put like a big shag carpet in the middle of the room, and the players would have to like go through it as if it was like a forest, to try and find the stuff in it. But I also had like climbing up the desk as if it was a mountain, and like I feel like I tried to do too much in my original drafting of it, and had ended up scaling it way back to kind of keep it focused on the one objective. I am always a like, I'm planning out a whole story and a whole campaign
Mhm,
and
mhm,
a whole thing. Um the the That's always my thought process, is like, I'm gonna plan out like multiple things and I think in sessions. So I think
mhm.
of like, okay, well, if we're here, we got to move into this, and we got to do this and that and this and that. And so to write like, I'm writing one room of a dungeon essentially, was very was very interesting for me as a GM, to sit down and be like, okay, I need to write something that can be transitioned to easily from something else, but feels distinct and unique, but then also like transitions into something else easily. So when I decided that I wanted them to be small, I was like, I need them to be uh, regular size when they enter, become small right away, and then like be regular size by the time they leave the room, before they are without it feeling like crazy rushed and stuff like that. um and so it became a fun challenge for me. I probably rewrote my basic premise of the adventure like 6 or 7 times before I ever sent anything to Randall. And then once I sent the first draft of it, and he was like, okay, like let's do A, B, and C, I was like, okay, cool. And then it went through several more iterations after that.
They were in a
Um,
volcano at one point.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
and
At one
and
point, they were just NASCAR drivers. It was
yeah,
a weird approach. I'm
it
glad we
was
scrapped it.
yeah. I
The
scrapped the whole rollerblading mechanic. Uh, I there was Randall dropped something in the chat that like the Frozen Tower is a separate product, and
Yes, so
and it comes in the collector's box. So I was
yeah.
combining thingies.
Yeah, so there's the
Yeah.
core book, which goes over the
Mhm.
rules and the characters, and like there is a
Mhm.
sample adventure in the core book.
Mhm.
And then there's the Frozen Tower, which is the like adventure, the dungeon that you go through essentially.
So yeah,
Um
it's the
but I also,
collector's comes with both, but the
yeah,
Frozen Tower is a separate
if you
like
got the
thing.
collector's
Yeah.
box, it has both of those, and then the GM screen and the box with
Mhm.
the characters in it. But yeah, it's a fun a fun time.
I need to get Randall's other book because he has
They're very
uh
cool. Yeah.
because I think the because Little Game Master I think is the book. The Little Game Master, yeah.
Hmm.
Um and
Yeah, so
I know that
there's two, I believe. There's the like little game master, and then oh man,
yeah, no, I see it right here. It's
bards and
Bards and
something,
Bullies, yeah.
bards and bullies. Yeah.
Bards and Bullies, and what's
Hmm.
cool is like a book. Like I have a lot. Like my kid has a lot of books, but
Hmm.
the one that randomly she gravitates toward, and I'm like, I didn't do this, but it's like the ABCs of D&D.
Hmm.
And it's a little picture book of, it's like, A is for adventure,
Yeah.
like blah blah blah
Yeah.
blah
Yeah.
blah. You know what I mean? And she just likes it for some reason,
Hmm.
and she'll like sit, and I have a picture that's really adorable. I know she doesn't fully comprehend, but it's her by herself, like flipping through it,
Hmm.
and I was just like, okay, she likes. Okay, sure, why not? And I was just like, and when I saw Randall's like other book, and I didn't pick it up when I was at, I think it was Gen Con, because I saw him and I saw
Hmm.
the little game master, and I thought it was this. I thought it was the thing. I
Hmm.
was like, oh, it's out, it's here, and it was a combination of, I saw the samples of
Yeah.
the what it's gonna be, and then his other book, and I didn't come back to get the other book because I was like gonna go like, oh, I'm gonna get it, and also gonna get him to sign it because you
Hmm.
don't have that opportunity that often.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to bring my my set with me the next time I'm at a con that Randall's going to be at, because Randall, you gotta sign this for me, bud. Mm, slowly hunt down all the other guest authors as well. Just be like,
Oh, that's
hey,
nuts.
like,
Yeah, to get like a
y'all bring
Holy
your
Grail one
books
where
to
it's
this
all of them.
convention, and we'll all sign each other's books.
That's smart.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm so excited. I do have to remember to pick up the other books when I'm at a show again, because the one of my goals is, when my wife and I have kids, they're gonna be nerdy little kids. Like, I'm raising myself some nerds.
Mhm.
The and so, like, I'm very excited to be able to like run them through an adventure, and be able to have like this system that is designed to be ran for kids, and then like as they grow up and they're like getting older, I can transition them into other games. But it's such a good like starting place for kids. Like, even the fact
Mhm.
that, and this still like is very impressive to me. um the I pulled the lid off on accident. That's not what I wanted. It's fine. The fact that the character cards have like, they have the descriptions of like the
Mhm.
combat actions, but they also just have like the pictures of what they can
That,
do,
yeah, that's a
so that
big
a
thing
kid
for
can
me.
just
Yeah.
look at it and be like, okay, so I can hit with my sword, I can do stuff with like wind and lightning, I can do stuff with fire, I can do stuff with ice, like, what do I want to do? And then, as the person running the game, you also have access to all of the like character cards in the main book, so you can see like, okay, they want to use number 2. Number 2 is fire slash. Your sword bursts to life with flames when you attack a target. Roll d20 plus wits. You do 1 heart of fire damage and cause the target's clothing to catch fire. If the target doesn't use its next action to put out the fire, they take 1 additional heart of damage at the end of their turn. Which is just like, that's so useful to have an additional way to interpret your card if you're not at an age where you're reading especially well yet. Or just as a if you're a very visual person, I have friends of mine who are full grown adults that would probably benefit from just like a visual representation of what their attacks do, because they don't like reading. I have many players that just don't read their sheets. I think I've talked about on stream before that one of my players, they were like a level 9 druid before they ever used wild shape. And
Mhm.
one of Davy Jones in the chat, his brother is playing a monk, and was a halfling for the majority of the game, but was reincarnated as a an Aasimar recently, and has like never remembered to use his halfling luck like reroll ones thing. I think the first time he has ever remembered to use it was after he was reincarnated as an Aasimar, and so he no longer had access to it. Like, it's if there were visual representations of what you could do and what your abilities were and stuff like that, I think a lot of people in just regular like D&D and other TTRPGs like that would benefit from being able to look at that and see it.
Yeah,
Um,
and that's like the like I know I have tried to do like the Gale Force cards and other things because if you have like those reminders,
mhm,
it helps. But even then, those are still blocks of text. There's still
mhm.
stuff you can like shove away. And I love. Could you read like the description of one of the moves, like the ones like in there's the
Yeah.
picture on one side. Like what does it say? Like just a description, a general of any one of them because it's really cool. I think that somebody could read it and they could use their imagination. But if they flip it the other way, I imagine people being able to interpret those pictures differently
Yeah.
because it's that thing where I
Uh,
love it when somebody takes a spell and
you want
goes,
the
"Hmm,
druid, the wizard, the knight, the bard, the
Druid. We were talking
cleric?
about druid, so let's
Druid?
go on
Yeah.
druid." Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So those are the abilities of the druid.
Hmm.
Which one do you want?
Okay. So we got a vine, a stinky cloud, lightning. What's three? Is that wild shape? Is
3.
that the essentially like the transform into something
3 is
else?
beast form. You can change yourself into a
Hmm.
wild animal. Select a beast form from the bestiary. You keep your current hearts, but your stats and abilities are replaced by those of the selected beast. You can change back to your humanoid form at any time, but you may only change forms once per turn. I like that.
Ooh,
So it
ooh,
doesn't
I
it
really
doesn't
like
it
that.
doesn't change your hit points. It's not like a
Hmm.
5e druid where you're gonna
Hmm.
have just an insane number of like uh extra hit points at a certain level. But it gives you the ability to like access new abilities and stuff. I like that a lot. Um I like that a lot. And it says you can only change forms once per turn. So I would assume that also would
Hmm.
include like changing back into your humanoid form would be like changing. But you could be like, okay, I'm gonna change into a spider this round and do some like spidery stuff. And then the next round change into a like back into your regular form and then do some other like spells or something, and then the next round you change into a rhino or something like that, and just go off. That's awesome. There's so many like the art on some of these is so good, and like some of the images on these things, I immediately understand what they are like from like spells of like
Hmm.
that one on 3 there for the bard. I don't know if you can see it clearly, but the bard is like playing an instrument. There's like little magic notes floating over to somebody else, and then that person is holding a D6. And I'm like, well, that's clearly inspiration. Yeah, inspiring performance. After a friendly character rolls any attack, defense, or inspiring performance is a reaction. After a friendly character rolls an attack, defense, or skill check, you may immediately use your inspiring performance to add a d6 to their check. This added bonus may change the outcome of the roll. That's really cool. So that's just like
Mm.
there's not a limited number of inspiration. It's just like if somebody's playing a bard in your game, like once per round, they can just make somebody else do better. That's really cool. Um, Nap time. You play a soothing song that causes every enemy who can hear it to fall into a slumber for a d4 of rounds or until struck by an attack. The special ability can only be used once per adventure. That's cool. Um, Remember this game is for kids. Absolutely. Yeah, this is like I love that. Um, I love that these are like designed to make people feel like they're doing cool things. That's really really cool. Does the ranger have a uh The ranger has pack attack as their special ability. You call forth a group of animals to aid you in combat. Roll 1d6. The number rolled indicates how many animals rush the field. Each animal can perform an attack against a target using your ability bonus d20 plus muscle, or may comfort a teammate, healing 1 heart of damage. The animals can each act once per turn, but flee the field of battle at the end of combat. The special ability can only be used once per adventure. That's really cool. So you could theoretically summon six creatures into a combat. That's really cool. I like that a lot. And the fact that they can either attack or heal is very, very useful. I love this. Randall, you did a great job on this, man. These are fantastic. What's this one? Berserker Fury. Berserker can go into a rage and attack multiple monsters in one round. At the beginning of your turn, declare that you would like to go berserk. Then roll a d4. The number you roll is the number of attacks you can make in this round. Attacks made while under Berserk Fury do 3 damage instead of 1. This special ability can only be used once per adventure. That's really cool. The once per adventure thing reminds me a lot of and Randall, let me know if I'm interpreting this wrong. I assume that once per adventure would be like once per session, of like if we play today and then we stop and we come back to it another time.
Yep.
Everything broke.
Well.
If we played once and then we leave and we play again another time, like we can use those abilities again. So you don't have to worry about it being a like something that's gonna overpower where it's every single fight they're doing something crazy. But it lets them make sure that every player gets to do something really cool every session. That's very, very cool. I like that a lot. Okay. Junie, we've gone over time as we are prone to do.
It happens.
I can't remember the last time that we ended a session and we were like, yes, exactly on time.
Exactly on time. It happens sometimes.
Occasionally.
But
I knocked
this was
my ring of keys off of my skull.
heavy ring of keys.
Just a classic relatable problem that everybody's experienced.
Everybody's got this, yeah. Here's what I think, Hunter, that we should have some calls for action here that relate to
Rosie redeemed hydrate 3 times. Rosie, how dare you?
Chugging coffee.
My water is so low that it is no longer able to be picked up by my straw, so I have to open it and drink out of it like a monster.
Savage. So, what I was going to say was we should your 3 calls of action for this weekend. It's the weekend, right? I was like, what day is it? We should have 3 calls of action that have to do with muscle, wits, and pizzazz.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, 1 for each.
Yeah. Coffee is hydrating. It's liquid. I'm putting it in.
There's water in coffee. But you are correct. Coffee does not hydrate. It does actively dehydrate.
Whatever.
Okay, so
Davy Jones. That's right. Yeah, hydrate.
I'm out of water. I drank too much too quickly.
He's not redeeming. Oh, he did redeem points. I was like, he didn't even redeem points. He just shouted. I was like,
just shouting.
I'm a pawn.
Drink water.
I'll do whatever anybody shouts in the chat. All right, so muscle, wits, pizzazz.
I feel like we just start at the top. Yeah, muscle. You have one for muscle, Junie?
Yeah. Either this is 2 for, because I'm gonna say just like do a physical activity that engages your muscles, and either make it something where like, oh, I'm gonna work out or something like that, or you can trick yourself and do a physically laborious task at home that you like. I'm gonna rearrange the living room, and that's gonna require you to move a couch, to pick stuff up, you're gonna be sweaty afterwards, but just engage all those muscles and like just really move some things, and it'll make you feel good afterwards. You'll either feel accomplished because you worked out or accomplished because you like rearranged a room,
Hmm.
and you'll feel good. And if you do it on the weekend, it'll be that time where it's just like, well, when else am I gonna do it? So like, knock it out.
Hmm.
That's my suggestion for muscle.
I love that. For my muscle, I'll say let's go the opposite direction. You're saying like physical exertion. I'll say make sure that you are also like resting your muscles. Like you have to physically exert them first, but then also make sure that you're resting them. Make sure that you're like doing something to take care of your body as well. Of like
Mm-hmm.
get a massage. Like make sure you stretch. Take a hot shower with like one of those. Have you seen the like shower steamers that you like put
Like a
into
little puck in
yeah, it's like
there.
a little
Yeah,
puck and then it
yeah.
like
I've
steams up more
I've
in the shower.
I've seen like I know for like my anniversary or my wife's birthday I gotten ones that are like scented different things,
Mhm.
but I've also gotten like Vicks ones like when
Mhm.
I was sick,
Mhm.
and it'll just like vapor rub, throw Vicks into your shower,
Uh,
and
That's how you
it's not
exercise a
bad.
demon. It's just
Yeah.
like a demon is just like inhabiting a body. It's just like I can't be here anymore. Oh man, I want
um
to play a cleric now who's just like all like
Constantly possessed.
it's just the party. I want to play a cleric who's like the party mom and is just doing like classic like mom remedies of like, well, drink water, like here's some Vicks,
Mm,
like did you need to get some sleep, like all of that stuff.
I
Just
now I
makes you a bowl of chicken noodle soup as a healing potion.
I
Uh
want to make a cleric that establish in a world that there are um an imaginable number of like micro demons,
mhm.
right? Like you think of demons and you think of some real big and bad, but it's like, micro demons are like they're just enough power to exist, but they can possess things too. And this a running gag of an episode of like a session will just be like the cleric exercising a tiny nonsense demon from something, and it'll be like,
Mhm.
just say what it is and it'll happen. And it's like, okay, so we do this fight, and then I reach over for the chair and I say, be gone, and then you see a giraffe with fangs and wings go. It's just like, what was that? It's like, oh, that was my bonus action. It has nothing to do with anything. It's just I exercised a tiny demon. It's like, what? Just
I
exercising demons
I love the
perpetually.
concept of a world where there are just like they like what are you talking about? Germs? You mean
Yeah,
microscopic
right.
demons? It's like it goes full circle back to
Oh
like
my
medieval
gosh.
medicine of like
Oh my gosh.
you need leeches because you got tiny demons in your blood. Take
Oh my
this
god.
cocaine,
All
you got tiny demons.
right. All right. We're on wits now, right?
Wits,
Do you want?
wits don't believe in tiny demons.
Whoa, whoa! Those are germs. What?
uh, fake germs are fake. No, I'm not. I'm 100%
Clip
against
that.
that immediately.
I don't have a clip button. I
No,
don't have a clip button.
no,
uh,
the wits. Do one of those like a puzzle book.
hmm.
You ever do those like the Sudoku or
Yeah,
whatever?
yeah. I have a D&D word search, and
Nice.
it's like half one page is word search, and the other page is like just a monster, but it's also like a coloring book. Then,
Hmm.
so it's like I can like look for all the words, looking for beholder, or then
Hmm.
color a beholder afterwards. Yeah.
Grace has
I
a book of like little uh logic puzzle books that
mhm.
are like mysteries and murders and stuff like that, and you have to like solve them based on the like six clues that they
Okay.
give you, and so then like
Okay.
they all interconnect and you go through and like mark off a bunch of them.
I, I have a wits thing that is going to be a new addiction for some people.
Okay.
Did you go through a phase where you were doing wordles or no? Or did you
No,
did you dodge that bullet?
I was aware of them, but
Mhm.
I never jumped on board.
I was firmly on that Wordle hype train,
Hmm.
and doing that like every day with like my coworkers and my wife and stuff like that. The New York Times app has like the Wordle on it, but it also has a game called Connections, which has
Okay.
become the biggest like like rivalry thing between me and my wife right now,
Mhm.
because what it does is it gives you for 12 words in like a grid, right? And they
Mhm.
look like you can see how some are related and some aren't, and you have to figure out how they're related. So sometimes it'll be like, oh, words with this type of suffix, or like
Yes. Okay, yeah.
they'll have
I have seen this.
very
Yeah.
broad 16 words, there we go.
Mhm.
And it's very broad connections, but like you can see them.
Yeah.
And they give you like four strikes essentially, or three
Mhm.
strikes. um my wife is very good at like clicking them and thinking
Mhm.
about it, and then like until she gets it right.
Mhm.
Me, I'm like, I'll see it and I'll be close, but I'll be like one off, and I'll
Mhm.
use all my strikes in the beginning, and it's like such a nightmare. The
So
past 2 days I've done it.
you play it like Wordle, where you're like, "Okay, I've got 3 in the right place."
It's like it's so bad because it'll tell you like you're one off, and I'll
Yeah.
be like, but and I'll
What else could
know it,
it
and I'll
be?
know. I'll know what it is, and then
Yeah.
it just slips away from me, and then she's like, "I got it," and I'm like, So the past 2 days I've gotten there like instantly, and I'm like, I'm a
Nice.
god. But it's a fun way to like challenge your brain, because it
Yeah.
makes you look for things that are like, broad connections. I still want to, just me and you, maybe Rosie and other people. I want to play Wiki Wars on this
Mm.
channel
Mhm.
so bad. And if you
We
don't
could
know what Wiki
absolutely
Wars
do it
is,
sometime. Yeah.
this is a second wits
It
channel
might
challenge.
not be a morning show thing, but it's absolutely
Oh, no,
something
no,
that we
no.
should do
This
at
is
some
like
point. Yeah.
a late night random stream. But the bonus challenge, Wiki Wars, is you pick a destination page,
Mhm.
and then you have to go to a target page only using hyperlinks. So it's like, if you I've done it before where it's like, oh, you're trying to go from Doctor Who to Pencil,
Mhm.
and then you have to just click hyperlinks until you get to the other one. It's
Yeah,
totally
and you use
possible.
like a random word generator and just generate 2
Yeah,
words, and you're
you
like,
could just, yeah.
you need to get from here to here, and you're just like, you're not allowed to type anything. You start at that
Yeah.
page, and you like are clicking buttons in that page to take you
Hmm.
to other Wikipedia pages to try and get from one point to another point. It's a
Yeah, I've
lot of
gone
fun.
from
If you
like
haven't done it, try it. It's a good time.
iPod to Muppets. I've
Mhm.
done, I've, what is it? Sonic the Hedgehog to Nelson Mandela. I've done some random, like, it's wild.
There's some good
Um,
ones. The
we need some pizzazz.
It's that's on the topic of like you had mentioned that you and your wife are both playing that connections
Mhm,
game. Grace and I cannot do anything like that where it's a like something that we're both playing but one of us will be better than the other person. Like if we're playing something, like we're playing through Baldur's Gate right now, but like
mhm,
we're on a team and like going through it
mhm,
together. We if we play the same like app or something like that, and one of us is going to get like farther than the other person, it
mhm.
becomes a problem. When we were, I think, just dating, she was playing Candy Crush and I hadn't played Candy Crush in forever, and I was like, oh, I'll like re-download Candy Crush so that we're
I know
like
exactly what's about to
playing
happen.
together.
Yeah,
And she had been playing for like a while,
and
and
you
so she
caught
was
up
like
right away.
pretty far into it, and I like sat down and like a day or so later had
Yeah,
like caught up to where she was, and then just
yeah,
kept going, and
yep,
she stopped playing. She stopped playing Candy Crush
yeah.
because I
I know what
passed
you're
her.
talking about. I know.
I was like,
Yeah,
"Oh, I feel bad. I'm sorry." So yeah,
yeah.
we don't
This
play any
one,
games like that anymore.
this is, I don't know. I think this is good because there's also they have like mini crosswords,
Mhm.
where it's like I never would do crossword puzzles like that,
Mhm.
but they like these are like one, like I think it's less than 10 words, and they're all like, very simple, like, they're just very simple 4 letter words, 5 letter words. So like I get them in like 2 minutes. So it's like a competition of like I did it in 2 minutes 35 seconds. She did it in three. I did it in like 4 minutes, and she did it in
Mhm.
two. So like the New York Times now, they have all these little quickie. I would just use this to kill time, or while I'm in the bathroom, or and then now we compete.
Mhm.
Uh, but anyway, that's not pizzazz. Give us a pizzazz.
I I have one for pizzazz
Go for it.
this week or this weekend. Sorry, it's Friday.
Mm-hmm.
This weekend, shoot your shot. Just take a shot, shoot it, put it out there. Find like a person you've wanted to like reach out to, like put something out into the world of like go on social media and be like, hey, I would really like to do this thing. Like take that shot, shoot it, do it. Be the nonsense. Just like what the worst case scenario, if you're like, I'm gonna put it out there that like this is the thing that I want to do. Worst case scenario, you're not doing it less than you currently are. Put it out there. Like be polite about it and like don't harass people and like I feel like I need to put disclaimers on the end of it anytime I'm like go out there and interact with people. It's like, but do it nicely and with their consent. Like don't harass people, don't be like obnoxious, but like if there's a thing you want to do that you are like excited about, like put it out there, see what happens. Sometimes that's all it takes.
Sometimes that's exactly. I still am a huge fan of the Very Random Encounters podcast. It was the first podcast I ever listened to, and I randomly shot my shot of like, you ever need a guest on there? Like, yeah, sure, come on. And there's a lot of people who've been on there, and I love Greg Leatherman, who's written Glitter Hearts and Mystery Business and other stuff, and I have his number. I could text him, like he's cool. And I was just like, I shot my shot, and I could be like, I know these people now, and I was like fangirling.
I mean,
it's really
my professional GMing stuff started from like being at a convention and I was just working in a booth, and so I was out at some like industry event afterwards, and somebody asked me like, oh well, what do you do? And I was like, oh, I'm a GM and stuff like that, and they're like, oh, you're a professional GM, and I'm like, yes, that's a thing I knew existed before this moment. And then from there it was like, oh well, if that's a thing I can do, like let's do it. Like let me take this approach and I'll see what happens. And from there I got connected with Start Playing because I was like posting about stuff that I was doing, and signed up on Start Playing, and then started running games through them, and then like joined their team, and like it's looking back, I occasionally just look back at it, I'm like, that was a wild a wild ride that it took to see where it went. But take the shot. Don't be afraid of it.
My pizzazz suggestion is just normalize saying hi. I realize when I'm in the grocery store or something like that, or walking around, my kid will just be like, hi, hello, and I'm like, like it's weird, and I'm like, it's one thing to go up to strangers and like start conversations with them and like get like really like, oh whoa, you don't know them, like be weary, but like just saying hello, that technically shouldn't be weird. That shouldn't be like so like, oh man, that's odd. I think I got into the debate with an older family member where they were like, oh yeah, dating or something like that. Just go to a bar and just start talking to people. And I was like, you can't.
Yeah.
You can't. It's like, what are you talking about? It's easier. And he's like, what are you talking about? It's easier with apps and stuff like that. It's like you can vet them and stuff like that. It's harder to go because you don't know. And he thought we were crazy because it was just like, oh, blah blah blah, like going up and striking a conversation and saying hello. It's weird. And I was like, that, just being polite and saying hello, normal stuff, that shouldn't be weird.
Do you have Aldi's grocery stores near you? So Aldi, you have to like put a quarter into the cart in order to get it. I've made it somebody did this to me like a year or so ago, and it made my day, and so now I've made it a point to do it every time I go there. Of when when you are like leaving the store and you like load your groceries into your car and stuff, instead of like taking the cart back and putting it into the thing and like connecting it and getting your quarter back, instead find somebody who is walking towards the like going to go into the store, and just offer them your cart, and then when they're like, oh yeah, and they like go to give you your quarter, you're just like, no, you're good, and then just like leave and give them